I'm just wondering, frankly, I have no great remarks, so, you know, so let's move right along with that.
But you have remarks, you just have to read.
That's right. I have no great
There you go.
remarks.
Remember that.
Watch how you say that.
I have snide remarks. I
Yeah,
have
but
smart
this is gonna be on video, so.
I have no great remarks.
So we can't approve the minutes right now. Okay. So
Office, what do you
office
think?
update. I don't have an audit date, but I have communication from the CPA because he's been in Europe. But he's back in town and they'll be sending me a request for all these invoices that I have to send them proof of expenses and so on. And then they'll get a date together.
Is he coming here?
I asked if they would this year, you know, just rather than doing it all online, because I wanted to look at my QuickBooks. So I'll let you know, Jack, if you asked. I'm doing mid-year statements. Been doing those for a while. I can't seem to get them together to get them sent out.
And this for the dues?
For the dues,
That
yes.
haven't come in
Yes,
as of
Yes.
last February?
the ones that we billed for the current fiscal year, yeah. And I've received the tax bills, but I haven't, they just came in today, so I haven't reviewed those yet. That's it.
That's, well, okay, we can't kill a lot of time here.
Well, we can, I can give the report about the roads, we just can't make the,
Yeah, why don't you do that? Yeah.
For paving for last year, which we had not yet paid, we have now paid. We received an adjusted invoice less the amount that we felt like we were overbilled for 2022. So $225,763.85. So it had been an overcharge of a little more than 5,000. I don't have that in front of me. So that's been paid. We'll be Shihai until Susan gets here. Bay Causeway is in progress.
Looks
And
great.
it does.
We wrote that.
I looked at the rocks that are on the lakeside.
Yes, that's good.
They look really good. And I went down, after I did my running around, I drove down around again, and that big piece of machinery is still just sitting there, backhoe or whatever it is. I thought, well, they had said it would be a 2-day job.
He worked all day today.
Oh, he did, he was there. So when I
Huge
drove by, he
load of
just
rock.
wasn't there.
And those,
Okay,
those trees that were just hanging around.
they're gone.
They're
Yeah,
gone.
okay, good, good, good. So that's working out. That's it for now. For the finance.
How about you finance? Yeah, Jack, tell us about money.
We paid our one big bill, so that's, and that came out of, I didn't actually see.
That was from last fiscal year is what that posted to, so it's not gonna show up on these ones.
In which account?
The major paving.
But,
Oh,
from which
Um,
funding?
so, shoot, about 165 or, no, 185 to this tax district and the balance, covenant
So
fees.
almost all
Co-
points of special
Oh, yeah,
taxes.
about 56,000, I think, to covenant fees.
Okay. I had a quick look at the books, it looks like they should look one
That's-
month.
One
For
month.
one month of the year.
So,
Right.
the only thing I might maybe raise now, we don't have a quorum, but, Jeff, I keep seeing him, not in the last week or so, but I've seen him a lot on my street, looking at paving repairs, painting it out, measuring it, putting it into the bidding documents, helping with the bidding documents. He's doing this all on his own.
You might want to explain to John who Jeff is.
We don't have the expertise to do our roads. So Jeff was our engineer for several years, and he just doesn't want to do it anymore, retired. He's a great guy, and he did a great job. I think our roads look pretty good compared to other, like the major
Yeah.
and I don't know, he's just a good guy. And he works hard and he hasn't been paid, he's not on the payroll.
Mhm.
It's not a, he works as a percentage. We have another engineer who is pretty good, so he's spent a lot of time with the new engineer, showing him what has has to be done, and I think we've had in between one engineer that didn't work out. I think it's fair to say.
To put it nicely.
Yes. So it's just good to have the new guy and the old guy who are both very competent. But the old guy, Jeff, has been doing all this work on his own for free. And we thought maybe we could just buy him a bottle of wine or something. I
Nice
suggest-
lot, yeah.
I think actually a couple of bottles.
Yeah, I would say a couple.
I have a question.
They both live in Costa.
Can't
Actually,
I
he
just
lives
do
across
that
the
out of
Costa
our
Road, across
Oh,
the
Costa
Costa
Road.
Road.
funds or
Yeah,
what
you
we
have actually as president,
So,
the authority to spend up to
that'd be
$500.
great.
Oh,
Because
really?
we could
It's in
tap
your
him for
policy
more free
or
work.
your
Yeah,
You-
if we lived
procedures
here.
manual.
John, are you
So
aware
you
of
can
how
do
the
that, but I
road
think-
maintenance is
Well,
done?
we'll
No.
Is there 50
Yeah,
miles
once-
of roads that we maintain? Explain to
Should
that
give us
process.
some, yeah, some jump point lore here.
Oh,
Because we have 50 miles of paved road. There's other roads somewhere in there that aren't paved, there aren't.
They're not even
They're
there.
not even
They're
there.
not
They're
even
just-
there. They were
They're
never
only
put through.
on the map.
and some of the roads are maintained by the county. We took over all of
That's when that tax
So-
came into place back a few years back.
Beretta is a county road, so they pay for
the
that.
tax district.
For
Chestnut.
some reason,
Chestnut
Chestnut and
And
Dogwood,
I don't
but
know why.
only between Beretta and Laurel,
Yes,
and only between Beretta and Rusby Hall, not
right.
this part. Don't know why, but they're county roads.
That is before my
And if you
time.
just take the time to go down Dogwood, or go down
Yeah, you'll see the difference.
Chestnut, you know, they're crappy looking.
But they're, yeah, the roads are, how many miles are done each year? It's a 5-year period to get them all.
We try to do 1 mile a year.
Oh, so it's 50,
So
over
we
50
can
years.
afford.
Right.
And,
in a good budget year, we do a little more than a month, you
Yeah.
know, depending on budget.
Well, too, and it depends, because Jeff had scoped out a 5-year plan for us. When we went for the last special tax district, he put together a new 5-year plan. So I think sometimes, you know, he tries to do them in a cluster, and it might come up to 1.2 miles. You know, obviously you're not gonna stop in the middle of the street, but basically 1 to 1.5 miles.
And did you say that Chestnut and Dogwood are county roads?
Yep.
Huh, that is odd.
Chestnut out
That's very
from,
weird.
from
Well,
Beretta out to
there's been-
Rousby.
I've been down here, I've been
goes
here
back
since,
decades.
I've been here since 2006, and every once in a while,
I
there's
just
there's
noticed.
some grumbling among the populace to give the roads over to the county. But we're our only priority. And so when something happens, we don't have to wait for the county to plow us and do anything, clear
But
up trees.
very realistically, the county will not take them. These roads are not up to county standards.
And we don't want
They're
them to be.
not wide enough, deep
I'm
enough.
sorry.
It's,
But the thing is, if we wanted to make them
I
up
do
to
need a
county
quote,
standards,
so
we
thanks.
would lose our
That's right.
30-year lawn. We don't really want to do that, so, right, so, and plus, the fact, I still think it's because we're our only priority, so we're our top priority, and if we have to wait for the county to come and clear roads during a snowstorm, we wouldn't be on the top of the list.
Yeah, take care.
Because we're on the way to nowhere, I mean, it's a wonderful nowhere, but we're on the way to, nobody's
No,
going through here
I
getting
can't say
place
that.
out.
We're not nowhere, you can see
We're on the
nowhere from
way.
here. Anyway,
John.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm
Tom Lake.
Susan.
Susan, nice to meet you.
Sorry.
Anyway, all right,
Well,
now,
let's go down.
let me call this meeting to order, but now that we have a quorum, we've been discussing things as we went along. Anyway, first order of business, John Latham has agreed to be on the board until we have our next election, when you will be officially elected. So,
And people, of course, want to be.
oh, of course, who would not want to be on the board? I guess we need a motion, somebody has to motion,
To a point.
I move that we appoint John Latham to the board.
all in favor,
Uh,
all opposed? Welcome to the board, Mr. Latham.
All right, Susan, you can go back home.
Now that we've done
No, we
that,
have a contractor.
now that we've done that, let's,
Just one question, does John have,
No, I'm
No,
I'm
he'll-
not, and
he'll
I'll
get
put this
over
together for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And-
Good point, I didn't even think of that.
let me jump in where we were talking. The fact that Jeff has been doing a lot of work for us for a while, and he's not on the payroll, he's retired, and we're not remunerating him in any way, and he's really doing exceptional work. And so it is sort of the feeling that we should give him a couple bottles of wine. Now, technically, I can do that on my own out of entertainment funds or something. However, I think it would be nicer if we had a consensus from the board to give him a couple bottles of nice wine. If anybody wants to limit how much we can spend for 2 bottles of wine, we can entertain that
Why don't you make it
conversation.
3, it's a nice one.
Huh? 3, well, how much,
Well, it's not.
no, but how much do you want to spend? That's, you know,
You know, you can go up to Carolyn Hart,
yeah.
the Tufts, and she's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, what we do with her
And
already.
you can, excuse me, I have to shut up. Okay, and she absolutely can get you a great bottle of wine anywhere around $15. She'd probably get you one for $9.99.
She probably could, but
Yeah,
Well,
in my opinion,
Well,
just,
they're
I
nicer.
think we really need to just make a point. You're kind of new here somewhat. Jeff, 3 years ago when he retired, we thought we had a replacement, somebody that worked for the county, seemed like he'd be a good fit and so on. Turns out, not so much. I mean, he cost us money for 2 years in a row. But Jeff mentored Chris through that period, and we thought we had him up and running. And actually, it's not that the man isn't capable, he's just overbooked. Way too busy to have taken us on. That's what that was, I mean, in his defense.
so therefore we
So
caught
now-
the short shrift.
I mean, so Jeff worked all with that. Jeff oversaw installation of a pipe down at Surf, no pay, because it was this transition
we make
time.
a real nice bottle of
I think we
wine.
have a
Yes.
very nice
Okay.
bottle,
Okay.
because he is now mentoring Steve
Yes.
Rose, we met last
He's
month.
given us thousands
I
of
know all
dollars
that.
worth of labor.
Yeah,
So
no,
fair to say
I'm
that.
all for it.
Yeah.
That's,
Some people don't wanna spend money on that.
No, I agree,
Oh,
no, I think,
But we've been dealing with Carolyn for the
Oh, yeah.
welcome bucket, so
yeah.
we,
Yeah.
She's been
well,
pretty good
she's,
for us.
you know.
$100.
All right, okay, a suggestion. I don't know, who'll do the shopping? Well, we can ask Cindy to do it. Cindy knows Carolyn very well. So, up to $100 for 2 bottles of wine.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Anybody wanna,
I move that we give Jeff a thank you gift.
is there a
Wine.
second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Okay, we will do it. All right, then, now, we're down to environment.
No,
You didn't
well,
approve the minutes.
the sh-
Oh, that's right,
We
we
have to-
do.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we have to back
the
up.
minutes,
First, we have to approve the minutes from
July.
July. Has everybody looked at them? Good. Do we have a, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Opposed? Good, minutes are approved.
Now the paving.
Now, yes, the second thing we have to approve is the paving contract with R and Sheehy. Sheehy, that sounds like ice cream, could I have double dip of vanilla or Jimmy's? Sheehy Trucking and Paving, their bid came in at 207,000 and change. And, within tolerant and expected limits. Jeff thought it was very reasonable, and they were the only bid. So if we have to, I guess we have to approve it before we can sign the contract. Is there a motion to approve the bid?
Some of,
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Opposed? Done, thank you. Now we can jump right back to the Environment Committee.
Okay, I spoke with Mark Smith, our Phragmites expert and invasive species guy, and he believes that we can skip this year. And we'll look at next spring, I'll look again and see how things are going and whether he should come back and treat next year or not, but we can skip this year, so. The only place I didn't check was down the boat ramp.
I haven't been down there lately, but I'll drive by.
Yeah, and see if we have to get somebody to come down here. Mark, I think if we have to get somebody to retreat that, we can talk this, the Wally Bowles, because Mark would charge a lot just to come down to do that.
There's not much down there, so.
I don't think there's that
Yeah.
much. And if we can skip it this year, we can do that too. too.
Want to
good
give
news.
us a 2-minute background of this for
Oh,
John?
yes. There's an invasive species called Phragmites. I think there's two actually versions of it. One's invasive and one's native. And we happen to have a lot of invasive Phragmites throughout the community. It's a plant that, it's a tall reed that grows into the water and eventually will take over the wetlands. And the state of Maryland wants it gone. And for some reason, when we first started doing this in 2017, we had a 5-year permit to have the specialists come in and spray. They use a form of glyphosate that's approved for aquatic environments. And we had really good success so far. You treat it 1 year and you get rid of quite a bit of it, and then, but you don't ever get rid of all of it. So throughout the years, through the 5-year period, we've done really well. But if we didn't treat it for another 5 years, it'd be all back. So we are going to skip this year. I don't know if there's any that I can show you where they are, or point you to where you can see some live ones. But if you go online, you will see it. Oh, I think it's,
Pictures of Phragmites.
the trouble, it's a very pretty,
It's a very pretty grass, tall grass.
very tall, but it can go up to 13 feet tall. And within no time, it can take over your property after a couple of years. And in fact, I was talking at the general meeting that we had someone that lived on Drum Point Lake that called Rhea and complained that it looked like there was some erosion at the shoreline. And so I took pictures and I sent it off to Mark Smith, and he said, what you're seeing is the return to the natural shoreline because the Phragmites had invaded that far in. So that's an ongoing project, and it's something that we will probably always have to address every year. Take a look and see.
How many sites did we treat by the year?
4. I think we, along the causeway, on the community beach, along Surf Drive, where was the other one?
Lake Terrace?
Lake Terrace, oh, that was the big one, Lake Terrace, and of course in the boat ramp we added.
Are you going to be doing like native plants then to,
Well,
like
we have-
thinking of that shoreline along Drum
Well,
Point
what we
Lake?
have, well, actually, if you
Main
go there,
road.
if you go look at, down to the, at Drum Point Lake anyhow, there's a lot of native grasses that come back.
Oh, they have,
When we
okay.
used to have to get a permit for the county, we were allowed to do the spraying, and then you can cut the dead cane, the specialist actually prefers that you leave the dead cane up to die by itself. But along the causeway, we chose to have it hacked down at ground level because it was very unsightly. But the county says that you have 2 years to see what will come back naturally before you have to remediate. And we haven't had to remediate it at
Good,
all.
excellent.
So, and if you go down to the Drum Point Lake, you'll see there's a lot of native grasses along that area where the woman was concerned that there was
Yeah.
erosion.
Yeah, at the community beach.
Yeah, the community
Lakeside.
beach, right.
Good.
So what does this typically cost us every year, Bonnie?
Oh,
Couple, 500, something like that, and most of us having them come down here.
It's not bad.
I think the first year, I don't know what, well, it's probably the same.
No, I think it was more than first.
Probably maybe
It was-
1,200 or
yeah.
something like
I
that.
don't
the first year.
remember, to look back, I'm not sure.
But
I
anyhow,
think it
this
was
is,
more.
for some reason, the state no longer requires a permit, although I don't know why.
Make it easier for people to.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Still-
really wanna get rid of this stuff, that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
But they don't wanna pay
And
for it
and Mark
anymore.
Smith has only been all around the Chesapeake, on the eastern shore as well. I mean, it's rampant everywhere. And I think it's in every state of the union, as a matter of fact. But it's especially bad in the Chesapeake Bay Area. So that's something we just are controlling and have been successful at it. And then the other thing I have is, I sent a note about this new invasive ornamental plant that nurseries are selling to people. It always happens here. We do it to ourselves, oh yes. It's called Italian arum, and it's a very pretty plant, and I haven't seen any down here, but we have it in Montgomery County. And people have, apparently it's rampant growing.
This should be illegal.
And it's pretty, it's another pretty, when these things are pretty, people buy them because they're
There
very
are other
ornamental.
pretty things, though. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I know,
when
I
it,
know.
when it becomes obvious
Well,
that
it's-
something is going to be invasive and
Yeah,
overpowered.
they should,
They do
Yeah.
have tiers of invasives,
Yeah.
where you're not allowed to sell them, you're allowed to sell
Oh,
them, but you
there
have
are
to
some
state
like
it's an
that.
invasive species.
Okay.
I think there's 3 tiers that Maryland has, I
Okay,
can't
so they
remember
do
what they
that.
are.
Okay.
Yeah,
By the
we're
way,
working on it, but yeah.
John, that Jenny is a master gardener, and she's also on the environment committee. So
I'm not really a master gardener.
Oh, you're on the spot now.
I thought you were in that
I took
course.
the classes,
Well-
and I'm an intern and I did do some volunteer work, but I'm not certified, so.
Oh, okay.
Quasi.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain to John what you do about the Ivy League?
So I don't know if you've seen the Ivy League, I don't know if you've seen any of the newsletters that come across and they mention the Ivy League, or we also have a Facebook page that's not,
It's not a DPPOA.
it's not a
It's
DPPOA,
actually-
it's just a neighborhood Facebook page. And I also post the dates of the Ivy League there. We just go out, we choose a lot, a DPPOA lot or a Southern Calvert Land Trust lot that's in Drum Point. And we go out during the cooler months so that we can avoid ticks, and we just remove ivy from trees. And we ask for volunteers to come out and join us, and we do a little window method at the bottom of the tree, we remove the ivy. And we've done a really good job on Riverview. If you go down Riverview, you'll see the dead ivy. And you can see where we've made an effort, and it's making a difference. So we're gonna start that up in November.
Jenny, could you do like for the newsletter, just like a point-by-point instruction on how to do that on your own property?
Well, I do
It's
do
pretty
that, I send a little video each time we have an Ivy League on the Drum Point page, and I think I've also added it to the newsletter when we say there's a new
Yeah,
Ivy League
that's
coming
been in there, but I was just thinking, have you done it just in, because somebody might say, well, yeah, I should look at that video, and then they don't. But maybe they would look at the point by point. Is it
Sure, I
like
can
4 or
do that.
5 bullet points?
I think Friday Mighty's is going in the next one,
It is.
and then I can, or do you wanna do both of them?
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Come and do it, and, because I don't know what kind of room I
And
have.
I said I would do
You know?
something on
Depends
the Italian
President's
Arab
page
as
is.
well.
Oh,
And she
okay.
can either use whatever, we can
Okay.
give you
Okay.
what will fit.
Thank you, Buster.
Have you seen these invasive hammerhead worms?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They're
I
nasty.
don't think we've seen them
Have you
down
seen
here.
them, Stephen?
I think they're in Virginia, I think they're in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, they are
I believe they're
in
in Northern
Virginia.
They are?
Virginia.
I think
yeah.
they're in
Not in my neighborhood.
How do you know?
I don't know, I haven't seen
I
it.
think I've seen them in Montgomery County.
Really?
Oh, have
Montgomery
you?
County, yeah.
Oh.
They're really ugly.
I've seen pictures.
And the worst
And they're
thing
long,
is,
and they're-
the fact that they're ugly is only part of it, they kill the good worms.
And they're,
I know.
I think they're like 12 inches, they're really long,
Yeah.
ugly looking things with a, like a strange looking head.
Asia,
Most of our invasives are from Asia.
you gotta kill them with salt or alcohol. You can't, don't cut them in half, because they
Oh, yeah,
they
they really
multiply,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
All right, anything else from you happy people with the environment?
That's enough.
All right, safety, I don't know who does safety.
Well,
John, you
ma-
can do safety.
Well, I wanted to ask John,
Oh.
were you on the safety
I
committee
was,
with
you
Peter
did.
Holt and all that? You're
Was.
still listed. You
Okay.
know Peter passed away.
No.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago now. And Maggie, the woman that you are replacing here on the board, kind of took over Peter's duties, if you will. Although it was never as strong, I would say, as when Peter, because he would really, he came in and did radio checks.
Remember the
you know.
CD, you had CD.
Yes,
radio,
and that's all
remember?
back there, and probably had that in his own house, and so on. Would you be interested? I hate to just land on you like that, but why not?
I convinced them it was very little work.
See, that was the plan.
Make meetings.
See, now that you got a seat at the table, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've been lied
Lock the
to.
door. But seriously though, I mean, if you wanna stop in later in the week, or when you have a chance, like on a Tuesday late in the day, because I'm here, and I can show you all around, if you haven't already been back.
It's a tour of the safety facility.
Yes, all right, thank you.
All right, that's safety. Oh, welcoming committee.
Yes. I think I've only distributed like 1 bucket in the last month or so. It's really slow, sales have slowed.
Explain what the,
Does John know about?
Does John know?
We do a welcome
Welcoming
bucket.
committee.
There's a welcoming committee now, and Ace Hardware donates buckets. You know, the big white buckets you see there. They donate those. Cindy, Jack's wife, kind of spearheaded putting this all together a couple of years ago. Carolyn at Patuxent Wine donates wine, other things, all kinds of things. I go down and pick up brochures at the visitor center and so on. So when a newcomer comes, you know, I get a new purchase, you know,
A new.
transfer of a house, whatever. I keep a list and little time go by so they can get settled. I send a letter saying, come on in, so on and so forth, and then, I can get all their information. That was the real reason, at least in my brain, for doing that, so I could get a good mailing address, in case you had a P.O. box, phone number, and so on. And then we have this nice gift that we give them, this bucket full of goodies and so on. It's worked out very well.
Yeah, it's very
Very
nice.
well,
We try to get local merchants to donate,
yeah,
in addition to
yes, yeah.
the Tuxamite.
So it's been a really
Discount
good
certificates
effort.
and such,
So,
What's that?
discount certificates and
Yeah.
such.
yeah, all kinds of things, so, yeah, it's worked out very well.
Mhm.
So, and there's stuff back there to assemble again, but I need to pick up some brochures and I'll let
The
you know.
residents seem to really like it.
They do, oh yeah, people are very appreciative, they're thrilled.
That's very
No,
nice.
I need a new bucket.
Hey, when you're
Anyway.
moving into a new house, a
Yeah,
5-gallon
That was the
bucket
idea, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
comes in handy every time.
It's good, yeah.
That's probably the best part of the whole thing, other than the bottle of wine. And then planning committee, Mike's not here.
He's not, but I was gonna say something unless you want to.
Well, I was gonna ask, do we have any more about the county permit yet?
Not the county, but package, regardless though, Scott Hardaway from Coastline Design, who's the engineer that is putting all this together for the community beach erosion, to address erosion. And he said that we could go ahead and put out for bids. And so we had all the other permits, State of Maryland, Army Corps of Engineers, all of that. That went out last week, it was a package like this. So I sent that to 7 contractors. And then I've also sent it digitally, because 1 or 2 requested, gee, do you have that digital copy, so I can it's easier to read, you can kind of expand it on your computer. So I sent those out as well. So the bid opening, or the pre-bid is mandatory, and it's scheduled for 10:30, August 15th. And then the bid opening, 10:30, August 25th. And Scott Hardaway will be here for both of those. So,
Okay, good,
we're on the way.
all right. And so, planning committee, unfinished business, the largest beach is the beach, we just talked about. The reserve study,
I sent an email to the, can't think of the man's name, Michael something. Anyway,
John, by way of
Also,
background,
yes.
reserve. The state of Maryland has suddenly passed a law that says all organizations such as ours and condos and everything else has to have some minimum reserve based on their cash flow and needs. We have always been very conservative, we've always had a good reserve, but we have to have the study because the state says we have to have the study. So that's what the reserve study is. We're sure we're gonna have flying colors, but the state says we gotta pay somebody to, never mind. Don't get me started, I'll just be cynical. I won't be cynical.
I'm very
Becoming, what am I becoming?
I don't know.
What?
Anyway, I talked to Michael Pellegrino, that's his name.
Yes.
And he had said last month that he would have a draft to us that week, and he did not. So, email back and forth, and he's had some family issues, but he said he should have it this week, the draft. It's a level 2 reserve study, because we already had a reserve study. We've had 2 done over the past 15 years. So this is a level 2, update to that study.
The governor's concerned about our financial situation.
I think the governor's concerned about other communities, condo associations in particular, that do not have enough money set aside to take care of those structures. That's what I think, yeah. So I think it's lumped in together.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're in Miami and you need $2 billion to rebuild your building.
Well, there you go, there you go.
All right, new business. Is there any new business? God, what a crowd, I love it. All right, we have to schedule the next meeting. It
Well,
should be,
Labor Day is the 4th of September, so 5th would be the Tuesday.
yeah.
So it would be whether you want to do it on 5th or the 12th if people are working.
Yeah, that's the question. Do people want to have the meeting on the 5th, right after Labor Day? Or do you want to wait and have it on the 12th?
Let's wait.
Okay.
I guess it depends on when you can get a quorum.
Well, you
So,
said,
yeah,
I mean, we can also, not that we can't decide.
yeah, but the fact is, a lot of people
Yeah, that'd be right.
won't,
yeah,
may not be here on the
Yeah.
5th.
exactly, so that makes
And
sense.
then there's the membership meeting.
Oh, the membership meeting is in the end of,
26th,
yeah,
I
something.
think it's the 26th, it's
Yeah.
a Tuesday
It's
evening,
firm with the.
And then there's the cleanup, which is also in September.
September 30th.
John, are you aware of anything else?
That's what we have,
Yeah, the dumpster,
twice
yeah.
a year.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm-
yeah.
I'm aware of that.
So I think that's scheduled for Saturday the 30th.
All right.
Anybody that can,
I'll come.
you're always there.
Yeah, there.
I'll try.
I'll be there.
Thank you, Susan.
When is that, Saturday?
The 30th, it's a Saturday from 8 until 2.
And do you want to stay the whole time, or do you split up the times?
It's up to you guys, I
Uh-huh.
always say you guys are volunteers, whatever you can give is fine. The problem is,
Did you say it was the
it always
30th?
ends up, it's always, if only 2 people show up,
Yeah.
you know, or 3, you're probably not gonna leave me
Well,
all by
I'll
myself,
stay- I'll
which I
stay the whole
greatly
time.
appreciate.
Yeah.
But if you could just give a couple of hours.
It would be
that's
good to
fine.
have some able-bodied then, because sometimes
It
people
is,
require.
it helps. Mike, I think Mike said he
Mike
can
is gonna be
help.
there? Okay.
And I had said to Joe Bateman, who does our like trimming along around the roads and so on, so last year I said, can you be on hand to help in case, you know, we can't get enough board members? He said, I'll be there, but I can't lift anything. I wasn't thinking, he had a heart attack like a year or 2 before. He can't lift, you know.
Hey, I can be there, but I
You
can't.
can't, you can direct traffic.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
The other thing too is, sometimes people come in with stuff that we don't allow.
Right.
Certain things.
Yes, as you know, some, they have the metal bin and then they.
Yeah,
the household
recycling
bin.
and household and stuff. But yes, any time you can give is appreciated.
And then the general membership is the 26th.
6th at 7 o'clock.
I think, I don't think I have any therapy scheduled for then, so I might actually be able to make it.
Okay, because Mike had said he would fill in for you because he owed you one,
Yeah, well,
if need be.
hey, he's the vice president, he owes me more than one.
I wasn't going to say that.
Anyway, so the next meeting is gonna be the 12th?
Yes, 6:30.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, anybody have anything they wanna add? Subtract, multiply, divide? I think we're done.
Okay.
Meeting adjourned.
7